Welcome to Catching Errors using the oldest trick in the book. Hey, I'm Eric, and in this video I'm going to show you the oldest trick in the book. Well, not my book, because that's not about development, but the oldest trick to catch an error that happens in Business Central, in AL. And this is actually a trick that goes back 30 years. And sometimes, you know, we get all these new fancy try functions and collectible errors and all those fancy stuff that sometimes maybe you forget, or maybe you're never told about the oldest trick in the book to catch an error. So I want to show you that. Hang on, here is my business. Well, this is not my Business Central. Hey, this is my Visual Studio Code. And I want to create, a code unit. So, not a folder. Let's go start. Let's create a code unit. And we get a number, and this is the problematic code unit. Right, that's the one. And any good code unit will have a trigger. Well, most good code units have an on-run trigger. And you know, this is a very problematic code unit because big problems. So here is our code. So let's actually try to run that. But normally when I do the ALGO, I always start by deleting the hello world thing. But let's actually recreate that. We can do that. Hello world, which is a page extension, customer list, hello, extends customer list, not customer link, customer list. And in the in the actions, actually, let's do a add first in processing. Oh, where we go, add first in processing, caption. What about run with arrows? Not run with scissors, run with arrows. What am I doing? We gotta create an action. Let's call it test. And in here we can create a caption. Wow. I've been rerouting my network all day, you know. It's not good for a developer to work with network. But it works now. I hope. So we have run with arrows. So let's do a trigger on action, and we can let's create a variable for our code unit here. That's a code unit, and we call it code unit, problematic code unit. So we will do a cu run. There we go. So hopefully when we run this thing, we will get an error. So I will publish to my local Docker instance. So the first time you publish an app, it always takes a bit longer for the system. So, this is a new app. We gotta figure out stuff before we can let it onto the system, but I think we're getting here. So somewhere in more options, actions, run with arrows. And we can see the debugger is yelling at us. Big problems. So normal behavior, nothing new here. But here is it. So the oldest trick in the book is that if you encapsulate this thing into an if statement, then let's actually do it. Let's do it like this. If code unit run, then message success, else message something happened. Now I'm going to deploy without the debugger. So by encapsulating a code unit dot run, the error is not being thrown as an error and stopping execution. So let's make sure that we got something happened here, right? But let's actually do this. Hello world. Right, so we have, let's just do this again. I'll do it without the debugger. The point I'm trying to make here is that, and actually maybe I should do it with the debugger. Run with error, something happened. We didn't get hello world. Actually, let's do this with the debugger. So what is happening is that the error occurs in the code unit somewhere within the scope of the code unit.run call. Doesn't have to be in the main function as I had. And execution is stopped at that point and returned to the if statement as a false. So if we, we'll just set a breakpoint here. Let's do a breakpoint. Do a breakpoint here. That's a good spot for a breakpoint. Run with arrows. We get the breakpoint. So if code unit run, I'll hit F11. I could also go up here and do step into. I'll do F11. We get into the code unit. We have error, big problems. I hit F11 again and again. And now we are out of the if statement, and code unit run returned false. So we get into the else, something happened. I'll just hit F5 now. So now we can actually have code that fails, but we continue to execute. So the next question you might want to ask is, but Eric, what error did we get? And we can know that because there is a function. Let me get up here so my big head is not blocking. There's a function called get last error code, get last error text. That's more complicated. Get last error call stacks and all that, but let's just try get last error code. So now we'll run this again. I started with the debugger. That was not my intent. We can stop the debugger and then just run this guy. Action, run with arrows. Something happened. Dialog. Wow, that was weird. Let's see what else we can do. So get last error code. Might not be that helpful. Oops. Let's try with get last error text. Oh, and I forgot I was on the debugger. There we go. And now we get what was just in the error message. Okay, so that's pretty cool. But let's talk about what's not so cool. So let's try and do the following. How about we do rec.modify? So now we have a open transaction. I'll run again. We try this, we go here, we say run with errors. We get, let's kill the breakpoint, shall we? And there's another, if you have, I've seen people who love breakpoints. So suddenly they have a bunch. So you can actually go down here and hit this one and say remove all breakpoints. I hit a 5 and we can see that now something happens on this one. So let me just hit a 5 again and a 5 again. And we get this wonderful message. And I love that it starts with telling us that form.run modal is not allowed. Well, in most cases, form.run modal is not really working in Business Central. The last place that worked was in Dynamics Nav 2009 R2. But hey, it's good to know that it is not allowed in this case. The next one, although, CodeUnit.run is allowed in write transaction only if the return value is not used. And we got the same with reports. We got the same with XML ports. So use the commit method to save the changes before it's called, or structure the code differently. Contact your application developer for further assistance. I know that guy. And we even get all the new fancy stuff. And actually, here's that if you do copy to clipboard, we get more than you just see on the screen. Let's go in here and paste. We get the call stack also, which is pretty nice. Bonus context. Anyway, so if we needed to do stuff like this, then, well, you got to commit. So you cannot have an open transaction before the CodeUnit.run when it's encapsulated in an if, because what actually happens here is that this initializes a new transaction, and Business Central does not support nested transactions. So you can only have one active transaction at any given time. So if you were using this to try to post a lot of stuff and then save the error if posting fails, then you can, we can just get rid of this now. Let's just say that if rec.find, now we're just looping through customers here. And then we do something here. Do something with rec, and then we commit and we call our code unit, but instead of the message, we're only interested in this fail. So if not code unit run, then what we actually, let's actually save that one. We can say rec dot, I'm just using a random field now, so rec dot name 2 equal get last error text. We're gonna encapsulate this. Right, so now we're looping through something, we're updating it, we're making sure that we have no active write transaction, then we call into our code unit. If it fails, we write the error message back into the record we're looping in, or whatever we need to do. Or if it doesn't fail, then mark it posted or whatever it is that you're doing. But this is kind of the pattern. Be aware that this is just a text, and we just saw the beautiful message before that had room to tell about forms and all other stuff. So it's always good to either, if there's a code, action there is not a code, but to copy string this one, comma 1, comma max string length, reg.name 2. So we make sure that we will never this will never overrun, so we get an error that's larger than it's possible to put into name 2. Because this could be a whole screen of text potentially, if somebody gets creative in writing school. So yeah, that is the oldest trick in the book to catch an error. I used this first in 1990, I think. September, working for IBM, where we were posting transactions coming in from a, what is what we call 4684 point of sale system, called FSA. I think that was the name of the point of sale system that we integrated to Navigator at that time, and we used this trick to make sure that if a transaction couldn't be posted, we did something else. So pretty cool. If you like videos like this, let me know in the comments below. If you want me to do videos on something else, let me know in the comments below. Make sure that you subscribe, because that helps me a lot. And if you're bored, check out this video. It's really, really cool. See you next time.